selected in this. I don't know if spikes damage applies to paralysis. If it does, I'm definitely going for that. But if it doesn't, then I'm going to go with stamina recovery. Yeah, I don't know. I could look up if they apply. If spikes damage applies to paralysis, then yeah, I'm going to use that. I don't know. I'll do this. I'm debating between Toxin or Venom for my hide. I never really liked the muddy hide. It's really strong, but just not what I want. It'd probably be the best though. But I don't want to be like overpowered. Not overpowered, but I don't want to be one against like mid tiers. Yeah. Just do that all. That's also kind of the point, but retrofeeding. That might be Venom or Toxin. I like Venom more than Toxin usually, but very few people have Toxin, so I use that. But Venom just I use the Venom because it's a really good full defense to stop them from just standing there and just regenerating stand the entire time. Yeah, I remember they buffed that, so I'm probably gonna use counter if they buffed it. Well, this would probably be good too. Except they buffed this. And I'm most likely going to be using Tail Swing. Tail Swing on Tail Attack. I use Detonate sometimes, but it's really not that good. So. Stego. I could have just said Kenzo because it's the only other Stegosaurus that jumped for the islands of baby. could stream hella loose, but the only downside to that is that I don't think the stream can hear game chat. That's kind of where I'm always at. Look. I feel like I'm gonna die before I make it to adult the first time. It's possible that I won't, but especially there, I think I fixed it. It's really hard to choose. Like I said, I really want both of them. I really want Venom, but I really, really want to get Toxic Barbs. Because Venom, really nice, it's self-defense. Because things usually just have to give up at some point. But I think I'm gonna go with Toxic Barbs. There it is. Especially when I'm young, it doesn't really matter. Most likely, Venom's not gonna do anything because if I'm fighting other enemies, they have infinite stamina, punch, and That does suck for this game, though. Pretty sure I have only 2, but I feel like there's a third. I'm pretty sure I only have the spike gathering and the animation, which doesn't really help me because I'm not really looking for the animation thing. Anything extra to the toxin, not replace my damn toxin. And then spike gathering doesn't work unless you're in a group at all, and I can't group stuff. Yeah, Miragaia is higher than Ken's revenue. That's what I need for everything. Yeah, that's expensive. Okay. Their barrage actually was crazy, actually. Might get that and just replace it with my normal tail attack just to have it. It kind of sucked, but just for is that a packy that I just saw? What am I looking at? That looks like a packy to me. What is that? Is it a packy crouch walking? Oh. It's probably that critter right there, but just up top. Yeah, it is. I'm smart. I can't tell okay, but I can kill him pretty easily. I think I need 500 for Lash. So the next quest, I should be able to. I usually use the charge tail because you can get better combos off, given you can actually get them off. But it's better for hit and run against larger things than you, and it's just overall better to me than Barrage, because you can do the charge tail, throw it, then do a normal tail attack, then lash, and then do another normal tail attack after, because it is basically off cooldown by then while you're running away. And then you can, but with tail barrage, it doesn't let you use lash. So whenever you tail barrage, you can do a tail barrage and then tail attack, or just tail attack, tail barrage, tail attack. But I like the charge tail more. The tail barrage is better if things are just tail riding you, but I find that pretty unlikely. And if it's really that bad, you can just turn to the left lash, so then you turn like this direction and then run while it's knocked back. Or to be fair, this tail attack does really good damage now, and plus you can just start charging, and if they don't leave you alone, then they'll eat a charge. Sliding over to me. What was that? Run. thought that critter did bleed. Maybe you could hitting my tail, but yeah, that's critter eating. I do want the new skin for Mira. I like the new skin bundle for mostly Mira and Aloe. Aloe is my favorite looking skin in it, but I think Suko's is the worst looking to me. It's just not that good. But all of them are still really good skins. But Aloe and Mira definitely take it for the best skin in there. I could also customize this skin, Sunless Zebra. You use funny colors. This skin's definitely gonna look interesting. Actually look pretty good. I like this one. It doesn't mean anything right now, and I probably shouldn't just do that in the middle of the open, but I felt like it. I do hope that they add either a snow part to Gondwa, probably out like over here, or map's too far out there. You could have it out like here, but it wouldn't make sense because it's the south and this is the north. It makes no sense. That's an annoying spot to have a snake at. Oh, how long is that time before you can lash? I think it's much shorter. Eh, not that bad. Basically, the idea is that I would charge, then tail attack, and then lash, and then tail attack again. That's the full combo, but it depends what I'm fighting, whether I want to eat a shot or two or not. Most likely against like mid tiers, I would use it, given I can actually catch them, because yeah, they're just faster than me. But I'll try. I should apply a bunch of toxin as well. And if I paralyze a target, honestly, the main downside is really the combos with the paralysis. If you fully paralyze a target and you catch it right at the perfect time, like let's say I don't have any attacks going, honestly it's really hard to get a good combo off without Tail Barrage. Tail Barrage is definitely better if you paralyze a target, because you can run up, tail attack, Tail Barrage, and then tail attack after, or lash if you really wanted to, and then after their lash you won't be able to get another tail attack because it's too much knockback. But with charge tail, it's a lot harder to do combos because of how long it takes after the attack. Like on how it's like that, but then it takes a while before I can actually use lash afterwards. Basically the same idea with the charge tail, except it's way longer. But given that you immediately spot it happening, it's mostly best to just start charge tailing, run up, charge tail them in the head, and then you can either tail attack and lash, but you may not have enough time for that. Also depends if they're just going to try and run away immediately after or not. Or if it's like a hats, it can just precise turn. This isn't the greatest place for me to go, but I'm going. I should be able to fit in the Juvie cave in case I get attacked or something. Other downside is if I can even make it there in time. Also, I would assume that you would know how Lash works on Mirror. That's a... I want to say that's Young Hats. I really can't tell. At the distance, it looks like it would be a large one, just because it's pretty large for that distance, but it's still really small. Let me make sure I can fit. I can't walk. Well, I can technically walk through, but not really. I kind of have to crouch, and I can barely fit. So once I reach out a lesson, I doubt I'm gonna fit. I doubt I'm gonna be able to get out this way. Oh no, that's Young Hats. That Mario is fighting with, I think. He's not hitting constant headshots or body shots, which is most likely gonna happen, but. The main thing with going into that Juvie cave is that if it's able to even fit in there, I should be able to kill it. Hopefully. If it's like a La or Denon, I should be able to kill it. But it can also very easily just sit there and tank hits. Yeah, the Lash definitely takes longer than I thought it did. He's gonna try and sit away the toxin. Amazing. That's a good thing about toxin. I do like that. Toxin does not change if you're sitting or sleeping. I don't even think it changes at all. Same thing with paralysis. If you're standing still or moving, I don't think it changes. So he's always gonna have that toxin for a little bit. I didn't hit him that much though. I only hit him with 2 tail attacks and he hit me on the back. But it didn't look like he had any paralysis. I could run over. I could probably make it there. I'll try. I'm surprised he ate that many hits, honestly. And he's not even, like, fresh death scarring at all. Took a tail attack, a lash to the face, and another 2 tail attacks. One while he was still technically sleeping. I'm pretty sure if you're getting up while sleeping, and you're in, like, the sitting stand-up animation, I think it still does sleeping damage. Could be wrong with that. Have that toxin for a little while. I hate zooming in with quadrupeds because I hear my feet behind me and in front of me at the same time. I'm not really going to be KOSing, but it's a hats, so it's deserved. Pierce Peck is crazy. I feel like he's gonna pierce in and jump off. Nope. Honestly, he's probably low. Like a 3rd health. Because there is no way he took that many hits while he was sleeping and just walked it off. about how much fun hats and like gameplay is. The animation canceled me. That's kind of crazy. The time on that is annoying. He can hit me way after he pecks. That time he actually got paralysis. Not any you know, sleep it off. But can't sleep it off. But this is about how fighting hats works and how being a hats works. You kind of just I mean interrupt that. You kind of just sit on top of things and heal everything away as you're fighting the target, so that you can heal what they can't. It's really boring, but that's how it is. And then they just fly around above you and do annoying attacks like flail. You can imagine how much fun this game is against hats. They're pretty much unkillable. I mean, you can kill them if you bone break them, but they nerfed it so they can still take off even while fractured, I'm pretty sure. And then you can knock them back to cancel their movement. That's a baby Sarko, I think. But for the most part, they just are really annoying. They can get on top of things that you can't reach them at unless you're a flyer, or just extremely large sometimes. And then they regen their stam if you're like a bleeder or something, or do some sort of status effect that can be slept off. They'll just sit up there and sleep it away. And then they'll also just be regenning health as well while doing so. Mentry's actually a pretty good counter because of the poison, but basically you can get back to full HP, which that's probably what he was doing here. Full HP while equipping Spec and Flail. And he's gonna fly around above me and flail me, but I'm too small. If I was larger and he was larger, he would just sit there and flail me the entire time, but I'm too small for him to flail because I'm really close to the ground and he's too scared of hitting the floor. I got the Dynamasukas. I don't think that was the hats. I don't know. And they keep on buffing hats, and I don't really see why. It is extremely strong how it is. If you're not larger than a mid-tier, you're just dead, pretty much. A 5-second cooldown for a pierce attack that does 100 damage is really annoying, and no stamina cost. Or anything. It's a 5-second cooldown, no stam cost, chart, or piercing attack, that's really annoying, and it does good damage too. Cough cough, Dasp. Dasp is actually better now, but originally Dasp didn't have the thing that increases your piercing damage. That's when the hats was extremely overpowered. I think it should get a stamina. Oh, and then Peck Barrage can do up to 126 damage at max stacks, which isn't like really that hard to get. Overall, hats is just extremely annoying. Did he just log? That's crazy. I might be swapping or something. Hunger and thirst spreading good. Yeah, I'm gonna try and fight that. He might actually outrun me, but I don't think so. Yeah, he definitely did not. I wonder what he would have logged to. most part, this is just running around the map. I think once I do carnivores, I'm gonna do a challenge to where I can only eat player meat. So I cannot just sit there and kill critters to grow, and then once I'm adult, then there's like nothing to kill. Because that's pretty boring. So to make it more entertaining, I would probably just do a no critter challenge pretty much. I can kill them, but I can't eat them. And I would probably break that rule at some point because I forget a lot. I don't know what carnivore I would do though. Because when you're young, a lot of carnivores are not very good. I could do like aloe or Sarah. I grew a concave and then got one-shotted by a Rex. And it wasn't even a doll either. He bit me on the head and I just died, so that was fun. And then I did play aloe once, but then I got teamed up against Spy and aloe and concave, and that was very fun as well. I got them both to meatball, but still died. And then Leighton is just, I think the Leighton and Denon are out of the list because it's just too small, and I don't know. They're good dinos, they're fun, but I don't think it would be very entertaining for the most part. I might do it at some point, and I do have a Leighton already grown, so I could just do that. It should be a quick and easy one because it's already fully grown almost, so I can spawn in, reach adult, get all my abilities, and then just run around and try and kill things. Hats is just so annoying to fight. All they do is sit on top of trees or just on top of rocks that you can't get to them at. And then just heal all their health because their health recovery isn't great, but it's not bad. And then they can just sit or sleep off all the bleed and other stat effects. The only ones that they can't sit or sleep off is poison, toxin, I think, and paralysis, because they don't change at all when you're sitting there sleeping, and some of them don't even change when you're running. So, like poison does change, but if they're running, it can last up to 10 minutes, and if they're standing still, sitting, or sleeping, it's like 8 minutes or something, or like 6. It's really long, but there's only one creature that has it in the game, which I think the Chilingosaurus, if they would ever add that, it's basically a Kencher, but it has stego plates nearby the upper part of the body. From its head to like its hind legs are plates, but then from its hind legs to its tail are spikes like Kentra. Not that way. Yeah. I think that would be really cool, and then give poison to that. But technically it would be venom because it's given through the spikes, which means that, yeah, but for creative liberty compared to the other ones, I think it would be cool to have poison as it's reflective, and it could also do paralysis. So whereas, it might not do a lot of paralysis though, because mirror, I think, would do more paralysis. But a Chilingosaurus with at least like poison on its reflective, on its tail attack would be cool too, but you know, poison is ingested technically, so you have to like bite them, and it cannot be injected through like spikes or anything, so technically doesn't make sense realistically. But there's also Mirror that was just a bigger Kentra pretty much, with a head that goes like this, or basically just a Kentra with a weirder and larger body. But it has paralysis, venom, and toxin, which I'm pretty sure realistically it had none of those at all. So I don't think they really care that much. I think Chilingosaurus would be really cool to have with poison. It would also help against like hats, because hats are just annoying. Or you could choose between paralysis and poison, and you would maybe be able to apply on your actual tail attack, so you could paralyze the target by hitting them, which would be unique to Trilingosaurus as a herbivore. And then they could add like a Dilo. I know it's unrealistic, it's based on like the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World series, but on how it can spit, it'd be cool to see that, but with like Toxin and Paralysis. Maybe. Or Venom. It's like you can choose between all three of those. You can either spit Toxin, Venom, or Paralysis. It won't be like an insane amount, and it would probably have like a 2-minute long cooldown, but yeah. And then they can get a sense that gives them more damage while nearby a target with any of those 3 status effects. And if, like the more status effect, or not the more status effects, the different status effects. So if there's all 3 of those status effects on a target, they would do even more damage. So it'd be better in packs because you can only equip 1 spit at a time. And you could probably have like a heavy bite that does the status effects as well that you choose. I need to land that. I'm running away from the water. My most anticipated dinos that probably are not going to come to the game recently, but I really want to see added eventually, are definitely Trilingosaurus and Dilophosaurus. I don't know about Dilophosaurus because there's a mod for it, so they might not add it. Or if they do, they would add it way later. But it'd still be just cool to see. And at some point I'd want like a snow map that bare minimum is just a snowy mountain map, like full of mountains and snow. Or they could add well, they could add the same thing but with a cold system. So that like there's caves around the map that you can run to, and if you go inside of them you heat up, but whenever you're outside of them then you cool down and get colder and colder. And then there's some dinos that, like usually the fluffier ones, would be better at that. Like Utyrannus would be cool to see, and they could just release, if they wanted to, as like a big update, they could add that with the cold system and then add a bunch of cold based dinos, 2 carnivores and 2 herbivores in the same bundle. I would want there to be Utyrannus, Cryolophosaurus, and then I don't know about like snowy herbivores. I have no idea what type of snow-based herbivores even exist really. I'm gonna take the Iguanodon, or well, a part of the family that is snow-based. Might be lamb. I doubt it. But I think there is something that is good in the snow that's related to Iggy and Lampia. My brain is like turned off. I'm just running around. Also, I probably collected those mountain goats. I can't tell. Oh, then I have mud block, which I can't use because I don't use mud. Amazing. Great. Leaders is cool though, but I don't have mud. Yeah, I'm not using this. Never. I'm pretty sure. I might get this last just to make sure that it doesn't do anything, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't do a single thing. Also, the only thing I'm missing is the second tail attack, which is very fun. Yeah, I would want the Trilingosaurus basically just to be Kentra, but instead of bleed it does poison or paralysis based on what you choose. I don't know why I'm running away, I need to get more. And maybe it would be a little bit slower, but it's tankier. So it has more health and has less speed. That'd be nice to see. So instead of being like a major like damage dealer slash bleeder, it won't have death rattle like Kentra has. it would have a call set that only apply to Stegosaurs. But basically it makes it to where there's 3 different ones. There could be 2 different voice sets, but the main one just one of them that I'm thinking of would be to help with reflective. So all Stegosaurs, one of them would be that all Stegosaurs in your group, so Stego, Chilingosaurus, Miragaia, and Kentro, would be able to do 10% more reflective per each Stegosaur nearby. So if you have, let's say, they only stack up the maximum 5 times. Let's say you are there, and then there's 4 Kentros in your group, and they're all nearby you. You can give everybody up to 50% more reflective damage. That'd be really cool to see. It'd be pretty strong, but really cool to see, given that, like, Chilingosaurus mostly built to be similar. And then, another one would be armor, but it's 5%. So it's basically like Struthi's one thing, but you can stack armor up to, like, by 5% up to 10 times, or 5 times, depending on how many Stegosaurs are nearby you, which can stack up to 25%. These all last for, I would say, like a minute, and have like a 4 or 5 minute cooldown for all of them. And then the last one would be ailment. So all of your actual attacks, not your reflective, but your attacks will inflict 10%, or might do 5%, 5% or 10%, but per each Stegosaur nearby, it does 5 or 10% more ailment, probably 5% because 10% might be a little bit strong with a bunch of Kentros because they can do up to 50% more bleed. So yeah, I'll do 5%. So basically all Stegosaurs will do 5% more ailment, and it stacks based on how many Stegosaurs are nearby up to 25%. So overall, you can do all of those around the same time. One makes them 25% more tankier if you have 5. The other one makes all of you do 50% more reflective damage if there's all 5, and then the other one will make you deal 25% more ailments on your tail attacks and whatever other attacks that you might have that you have to, like, activate. Will also apply 25% more ailments. So that would help a lot with, like, Kentro and possibly Mirror. Stego won't get much value out of it though, but the armor buff would be nice. Armor buff on Stego would be really good, and the ailments, and then they don't really do a lot of bleed, but if you get a bleed Stego and then use that, then you could be good. But the reflective won't do anything for Stego. Also, the there's not enough space for you to really get a lot of value out of it. You'd only be able to stack it up to 3 times because you'd have yourself and 2 other Stegos maximum. But you could also just do that and have a bunch of Chilings. I think you can get 1 Stego and 3 Chilings in a group at the same time. Yeah, you can. So you could get 3 Chilings, and I think that, like, you could stack it from each other. So if you use it, 2 of them use it together, one nearby, it would stack to double the amount that it would have. So, yeah, I think that sounds good to me. It'd be cool to see. And yeah, their main thing is that they can also apply poison and or paralysis. So you can, it's like on how Mirror works. You can get mud, venom, or toxin. For Chiling, it would be poison or paralysis. But the upside is, like, you would think, why would you play Mirror if you would play Chiling, or why would you play Chiling when you can play Mirror? Because you can get paralysis, but you cannot apply paralysis on targets while attacking them. You can only get it, or apply it if they hit you. So I think it'd be cool to see Chiling be able to choose between the 2, but paralysis will apply if you hit a target as well. So you can be a really good Miragaia support, or just an overall support, because you can debuff the enemies pretty much with your paralysis or poison, so they can either heal slower, especially bats, or you can make it to where their abilities have longer cooldowns and they move slower overall, until eventually you can fully paralyze them and have your group just hit them a lot while they're paralyzed and can't do anything. It would be pretty strong, but It's, once again, a slightly tankier Kentra, I would say, but slower. So it's basically mirror speed. I'm pretty sure mirror moves at 1000, and that would be the speed that it would move at. So Chai-Ling would be decently slow, well, decently fast, but not fast enough to catch a lot of things, and then it probably wouldn't apply a lot of paralysis on the attacks, but it would do the majority of it on reflective. So if you get hit, you would do more paralysis, like let's say 15 or 20%. But if you hit a target, you'd only do like 10. Because I would imagine people would run around basically like how Kentra can and just attack people. And then doing paralysis is really annoying against people that are just getting KOS'd by Chai-Ling. But like I said, Chai-Ling wouldn't be that fast, it would be mirror speed. Its stamina regen would be good, but its overall stamina would not be that good. It would be like mediocre overall stamina, but like mediocre stamina regen to maybe like pretty good. So you're not gonna be like just run around for 10 hours and not run out of stamina. Of course it would have spit. It would probably get counter turn as well. It would be cool to see lash on it maybe, or they could just do juke. Juke could be good enough. And the tail attacks, they would probably have detonate for poison and paralysis. Paralysis one sounds weird. Yeah, probably not paralysis. Probably just poison. It wouldn't be that useful, but it would probably be. They could do it for like better damage than the other detonates, because bleed detonate isn't very good, and poison or venom and toxin detonate is also not very good at all. They're like okay. And plus it drains your stamina. So they could do it for only poison on Chai-Ling. So if you want like a damaging build, a damage / tank, you would go with detonate and poison, and then you could do actually pretty good damage to targets that have poison on them. Well, depending on how much poison they have, of course. It'd be really nice to see. And I don't know which dino was added from the cause I know there's a perk owner, like you can own, or you can buy like a perk kit pretty much to where you can choose like out of a list of dinos what you would want to see, and there was one Stegosaurid one, and it was between Mirror or Kentro, but I don't really know which one was added. They didn't make it public at all, so. And I'm kind of happy with Mirror and Kentro. They're both cool, but I think Chai-Ling would be really cool to see in the future. That's just to me though. It would be really cool to see a Chai-Ling in the future, or near future, if they really want to. I would be so happy. And if they do, like I said, I'd be happy as well. Chai-Ling would probably get a charge tail as well. I think it would be cool to see like this is mostly an idea from Stego. I had a theory for Stego, what it could be for a TLC or just ability upgrade. Oh, definitely a TLC, never mind, they'd need a model upgrade as well. Stego's model isn't the greatest, but I think that would be cool to see abilities that are better than normal abilities, like passives. Like on how armor is 15% from the hide. For Stego, it would be either 20 or 25%, but that's only during the day, and at night it debuffs it by that much. So during the day you'd get 25% more armor, but during the night you get 25% less armor. Same thing with for running, same thing for the stamina regen hide. Like there would be a long distance runner pretty much at 25%, but at night it's worse. You know, pretty much just do that for a lot of abilities, or pretty much a majority of them. The whole idea is that it would be better during the day, but worse during the night, like worse than normal. So I think that'd be cool to see. And then what else? Oh yeah, the tail attacks. There's 2 tail attacks I'd like to see. One of them would be kind of taking inspiration from the Isles Stego power swing, but not really. The first thing that I would like to see would actually there would be 3, but the first thing that I would like to see is a heavy attack, like basically on how like Dasp's heavy bite works. It's a little bit delayed, but does more damage. For Stego, it would be a little bit delayed, but do like more ailment and decently more damage in between charge tail attack and normal tail attack. So do let's say 95 damage and half the amount of bleed that the charge tail does, because charge tail does a lot of bleed. But it'd be delayed, and it would have a total of like a 5-second cooldown, but you can still tail attack like after. But basically you'd put your tail in the air for like 1 second going to the opposite side of where you're looking. It would be directional, so if you're attacking on the left, it would go up to the right a little bit and then come down and swing. And basically that would just do what I said. It's a little bit delayed, so you have to activate it and then hit them. And then the other one would be a skewer. Kind of like Arc's Stego, I think. I think it has a skewer ability. But it'd be basically the exact same animation as the heavy, but it would make like a different noise, I guess. So if you're attacking left, it would go up in the air to the right a little bit and then come back down to the left. But it's basically just a grab, so if you hit them, it would do a bunch of bleed, but like very little damage, and you just hold them still. I don't know what else would have really happened. You would just hold them still, and then you can press the same ability again to let go. But the longer you hold them, I guess it would do bleed over time. Or there could be like I don't know. I don't understand, but or there could be like another attack that you always have for skewer. So if you have skewer, then you always get another ability that, let's say you hold it down, you like shake your tail while inside them, and it does bleed instead of just doing bleed over time until you let go. And obviously they can drain your stamina. Like on how, let's say it's basically like Sarka. So if you grab something, they can drain your stamina, but you're just holding them. But you cannot move around at all. No moving. Both of you are just stuck standing still. I think it'd be cool to see that in pretty much every dino you could do it in. Like anything at least mid-tier and below, maybe some sub-apex possible. But depending on where you hit them, it's possible that they could also just hit you while you're doing it. But it'd mostly be about applying the bleed that you can do. Oh, I'm done. But yeah, it'd be mostly focused on doing a bunch of the bleed. Because Stego's charge tail does a lot of bleed, but it's really hard to get off. And I think, oh no, it'd be cool to see a lash instead of pivot. Pivot's a really cool ability, but maybe they could do pivot to just be like a buffed version of lash. No like knockback, but just do good damage and good stats effect, but drain stamina. And then it also applies a passive like turning boost or you can only use it while like standing still for 5 seconds. So if you stand still for 5 seconds, then you're able to use it, and basically you just do pretty much a lash. You would do, let's say it would be to the right or left. You can probably do left because Mirror does that, but it would probably be directional. That'd be cool to see a directional lash pretty much. But you get a passive turn in place movement, like change while you're standing still, and then like after a certain amount of time, and it also activates the ability. And then once it's activated, you can either look left or right, or if you just look straight, it'll do it to the left like Mirrors does. But you would, let's say you're looking at the left, it would go in the air to the right a little bit, and then you would kind of spin around while the tail goes to the left. And then, yeah, that's really it. Or that could be the skewer. The skewer would be mixed with pivot pretty much. So instead of being an attack that you can use while running, you can just like run and then hit it and then swing down that way. Instead, you'd have to, in order to use it, because it'd be pretty strong, is to just stand still. And then you get a turning boost. Once it's activated, you look in the direction, and you basically just put it in the air, the opposite side a little bit, and then come down, swing, turn while swinging. And then if you hit them, then you skewer them. Which does, like I said earlier. And if you really want, that could be on how that works. If you use if you stand still, or what? There would be 2 tail attack slots, obviously, like all other Stegosaurs. And there would be the, I guess, not shred, but like shake, I guess. I don't know what you would call it, but while they're pinned, you could just wiggle your tail pretty much, and use it every like 2 seconds or something. and you just shake a little bit, and it does more stats effective, like low damage. So like every time you use it, it would be 15 to 20 damage, and like 0.5 or probably like 0.6 bleed every time. So it's a lot of bleed, but it does pretty low damage for the most part. You can use it every 2 seconds, but you know they can just buck and drain your stamina, and that would be more useful for smaller things having buck, because there's a lot of small things that have buck. And if it cannot pin the target, it would just do like good damage, like normal tail tax damage. And it would just do like normal tail tax damage, but it does good bleed if you cannot pin them. But if you can pin them, then on the initial pin, it would do 40 damage and 0.3 bleed, I guess. And then if you have the shimmy, the shake ability on your like tail tax slot, you could shake them. And then, or like shake it back and forth a little bit, or up and down. I don't know how the animation would go, but pretty much shake. And then you would do way more bleed, but at the cost of less damage. But if you don't have it, then you can't do anything while you hold them. You just hold them, and they drain your stamina until you let go, or until your teammates attack them. So I think that would be cool to see. Basically just summarizing it, Stego would basically get lash, but you have to stand still for a certain amount of time, and if you use it, it pins the target, and then you can use an ability to, and it does a lot of bleed if you use the other ability while pinning them, but it doesn't do that much damage. It does okay damage to things of equal or slightly less size. To like chickens, you'd probably like two-shot it, but that's chickens, so you probably one-shot them originally. I should probably do some like suggestions or something. I would love to see this in the game, but I don't really do anything to work towards it, especially because of the reviewing system for suggestions. It just, I don't like it. It's so bad. Because if you're not using a neurotypical based opinion, then nobody's gonna see it. Because how it works is that you have to you basically put up a thing, and then people have to see it by looking it up, which means that everybody has to be thinking the same way, which I guess is a good system for a lot of things, but there's a lot of like really in-depth things that would be really cool to see. But basically, yeah, if they're above like 1,000 upvotes, which means about 1,000 people have to see it and then like it, then the dev team like will take a look at it, I guess, and summarize if it would be cool, like if they would add it at some point or not, or if it's just under consideration, which means that they haven't decided yet. I don't know. It's a good system for like small things, like, or kind of big things like tracking, and nesting was one of them. But for things like specific dino changes and stuff, it's so hard to get it, pretty much. So my best really chance to see it is maybe by chance getting Matt or somebody else to type in a chat. I have seen him a couple times, but I've never really said anything about stats or anything. Mostly just talk about whatever he's talking about. You know, the most times I've seen him was on the Permadeath server. Not on the server itself, but on the Discord's chat for it. To, like, discuss bugs, or just talk about it in general, or just to talk about playing it, like having fun, what you did, pretty much, what you grew. But yeah, I haven't really talked to him that much, and the only things I've really said was a while ago, which was before Permadeath was actually out. I've seen him once on Permadeath, but I didn't really get to ask him anything. And then the other time I saw him on the solo-only server, because that came out before Permadeath. And basically was saying on how it would be, I think it would be better to make it to where it would be like duo server. So you can play solo, duo, or maybe maximum trio if they really wanted to. So then solos still have a chance. Like, it's more reliable for solos to be able to win fights against like duos instead of having to fight like 10 people. So it'd be fun to play as like a duo, like you and your friend, and then it would also not be impossible for solos to do anything. But they just said that they don't really have the servers for basically. Because I think he took it as I wanted him to like make it a whole different thing, which if that's what he wanted to do, I'd be fine with that as well. But I'm just saying, basically, that's probably not gonna happen. And in order to really tell him about like the Stego and Chilingosaurus thing and all of the other things, it's gonna take a long time of him reading, and I doubt he has the time for that. So he's probably just gonna tell me that I should go to like the review or suggestion system, and that shit sucks. Suggestion system is so bad in my opinion. It's good for a lot of things, like it's good to have, but there's some really in-depth and like interesting things that you can say, and if it's not something that everybody likes, which is what neurotypical means, well, that's not what that means. Neurotypical basically means the things that most people will like or do. Like neurotypical people is mostly used in music or gaming. So like most neurotypical type people, which are people that kind of think the same, like the main thing that people think about whenever it comes to like gaming, they'll be like, oh, Fortnite, Call of Duty, that's a neurotypical thing, if you didn't know what that meant. So it's really hard to get non-neurotypical based like suggestions out and opinions, because a lot of neurotypical people will disagree with them just because they all think the same, pretty much. And that's why the suggestion thing is pretty bad to me. Like I said, it's good for the people that are neurotypical. All the neurotypical people will have a good time on there because they can suggest exactly what they want, all of them. But downside is it's basically making it better for neurotypical people and worse for non-neurotypical people. So they'll get the opinions from a lot of the average, pretty much just average people, like how they think, what they want. But it just kind of overshadows the non-neurotypical people, which I mean is kind of the point, because if it's neurotypical, that means that more people want it. Because most people that play any game, or just most people in life, all are usually somewhat neurotypical to each other. Like most games, probably about 75% of the people are neurotypical and play the same things, like the same things, stuff like that, think the same way. And there's about 25% that are non-neurotypical. Not to say that I'm always not neurotypical, there's some things I'm definitely neurotypical about. But I hate that. But yeah, I usually have a lot of non-neurotypical based opinions, and I get a lot of complaints about them. Like that, like the Stego thing. I love that, but a lot of people that I talk to always disagree with it. I don't really get why, honestly. That's an EO. I run. Can't see him, but I can definitely tell by the footprint that that's an EO. EU has very distinct footprints, or footsteps. Very cool. Yeah, like I said, basically, I just have a lot of mostly neurotypical or non-neurotypical based opinions or ideas and like gameplay things, but it's really hard to get the suggestions out because of how the suggestion system works. You have to have more people that are more like you and think the same way in order to have them like what you do, and that, once again, like I said, helps out the people that all think the same way, but it overshadows the people that don't think always the same way, pretty much. Although, to be fair, there's some pretty good ones that are actually like neurotypical, and a lot of people will have upvoted like tracking. I really want that. That's pretty neurotypical, I would say. I'm pretty sure a lot of people want it, but I actually like that. I use tracking majority of the time whenever I'm a carnivore. It's really fun. And then nesting was one of them. That's pretty neurotypical, but once again, pretty fun. I like that idea, and it came in the game, so cool. There's a lot of things that I like that are neurotypical, but there's still other ones like Archillo and Hats. Those are probably the most neurotypical based dinos in this game. I see them all the time, every time, and they always complain about how bad it is when it's so extremely strong. That's a heavy neurotypical opinion that I do not have. I hate that. Hats is so strong. Achillo is not that strong anymore, but Achillo is still neurotypical because it looks like a velociraptor, in quotations, from like Jurassic World and stuff. Because people just love big raptors because they're so raw and how they look and how they're smart, in quotations. But it's a very fun growth. I would love to see the Stego and Trilingosaurus, Stego TLC and Trilingosaurus be added in the ways that I said. It's fine if they add it differently, but I would really wish to have a way to actually suggest that to them, so I can try and hopefully help them out. Because I think it would be good enough to help them out in that way. Like, if they add this, then I would suggest doing this, and if they add this thing to TLC, then I would suggest that you would add these things, and then they can work off of that pretty much. Give them a general idea of things that sound like a cool, unique playstyle for them, and then they would change things to balance it out based on what they feel is better balancing. Like, they would change on how the pivot skewer thing would do, let's say, less bleed or more damage or something. But like I said, it's just extremely hard to do so. The only way that I can actually find out how to do so is really trying to find Matt, which is the lead developer, in a chat, and basically try and tell them all of that in one message or so. But like I said, for the most part, most likely, given the suggestion system that they have, they're mostly going to be like, nah, I don't really want your suggestion, just go to the suggestion system and we'll look at it if it's popular. But like I said, neurotypical, biased suggestion system, in my opinion. Also, my brain has been on autopilot the entire time. I do that a lot whenever I'm playing Path. I always just talk about stats and ideas for dinosaurs, TLCs, or just dinosaurs to be added and stuff. But in the meantime, I just kind of walk around and just do quests that I kind of just walk up to things and hold my collect button, which is G, and hope that it collects. Also, that's crazy that it just spawned right in front of me. Also, my mirror is extremely loud, but I am all subbed also. I can see why. And also, the person who's probably watching is honestly probably a bot, so I'll post this on YouTube and hopefully people will be able to see it there. I could be wrong on that, I'm sorry if you're not a bot, but for the most part, every time I stream, if there's only like 1 or 2 people, it's mostly just bots. especially since you haven't typed in chat at all. So you could just be watching and like using it like a YouTube video or something, a live YouTube video. But like I said, I'm sorry if you are not a bot, but most likely I think that you might be. And that does not mean that you have to type in chat or anything, but I'm just saying, in general, I doubt that you are a real person slash not actually listening and just there. But that's fine. If you are, perfectly fine. But I'll post it on YouTube. I doubt I'm gonna get many people, but I could try and see what they have to say about it, given that anybody really watches it, because I like my ideas. That's a bias thing. Everybody has bias in their brain. So about like, or ego, bias, same thing. They have an ego or bias towards their own opinion because their own opinions are what that they think is correct or right or good. And I hear this quote a lot, and it is kind of true, but not really. Saying that you don't have an ego means that you have like a bigger ego than you would have had if you said that you do have an ego. Everybody has an ego, so yes, that technically does mean that. So if you say that you don't have an ego, that usually means that you have a big ego, or a bigger ego than, like, that people would think than before, because you're saying that you don't have an ego at all. I don't think I have a large ego at all. I like my opinions. That's not really an ego, per se. That's a bias. Ego and bias is basically the same thing, in a way. Ego is mostly about thinking that you're better than others, usually, or thinking that this is easier than it actually is. But then bias is more like, I like this not just because it's actually good, but because I just like it, and I just want to say that. Like, dinos. A lot of people have a bias towards certain dinos. Like, this dino doesn't need a nerf when it's extremely overpowered, which is a neurotypical thing usually, like hats and a kilo, and how people think that it always needs to get stronger. A kilo, but hats definitely does not need to get any more buffs. But they always say, in a biased opinion, that it's extremely squishy, has absolutely no HP, which are complete lies. It's so tanky. For what it is, it's very tanky. And it's especially not a glass cannon. Once again, another biased opinion that I hear lies. That's a glass cannon. It's not tanky at all, which are two biased opinions that are completely incorrect to me. Which technically means that it could be that I'm biased against it because I fight it all the time. I personally just don't play it at all. So it's possible that I'm biased on that part. But I've tested it. It's not as squishy as they say. They say it does not like eat any hits at all. But I've tested with a pick no charge without the like all the armor stuff, like just the armor subspecies. It does like a fifth of the health. Yeah, that's pretty, like, that's not the greatest thing. Like, it's pretty squishy at that point if you think about it. But you can also get up to 25% more damage reduction. And then you can also get tough beak, which makes it for the first hit if you have the other two, like the subspecies and the sense, that you will be pretty much immune to whatever you get hit by for the first time that you land, which is really strong for something that's not that squishy. And also, 2 days ago now, I think, I did a stream where I was Suko, and for comparison, let's say, like, what happened. Hats can eat one charge and it'll do about a fifth of the health. I was a Suko and I got hit by, I think, 2 charges and 2 head slams, and I was on 1 HP from almost full HP. So it's about on equal, like, on par with on how tanky Suko is with its defensive builds, which in my opinion is not something that a glass cannon should have to be that tanky. You would think it would be more like I guess Sarah tankiness. Sarah's a little bit too tanky now. Maybe like a Kilo's tankiness, because it can fly too. It's extremely fast. It can fly. It turns on the spot. It's like Anno, but just more annoying. How it turns, because it can catch up to you. It can turn really fast. It's pretty tanky for what it is supposed to be, and it does a lot of damage. It's an armored cannon, not a glass cannon, pretty much. It's the opposite of what people really say, except, not the opposite. If it was the opposite, it would be doing no damage more than cannon. But no, that does a lot of damage with no repercussions either. So, like I said, I like to talk about hats as well, because hats are so annoying. I hate hats. And it's a biased opinion, yes, but it's way out of balance to me. Especially on top of that, you can fly away, and they nerfed Bone Break. I do like that. I like that they nerfed Bone Break for other creatures, but it's indirectly buffing hats, because hats can now take off still without being bone broken, because you can't bone break instantly, which, like I said, perfectly fine by me that you cannot instant bone break, because that was overpowered. I also did not really like that, but it just is indirectly buffing a creature that already does not need any more buffs, and if anything, it needs a lot of nerfs. And Achillo's in a good spot right now. It's not that tanky. It's one of the tankiest mid-tiers technically, but it's a 3 slot. So, makes sense, I guess. It does piercing damage, which can also change the damage based on how large the target is. So that's really good. It can pounce, but it's kind of useless. And it can buff chickens a lot. If you mob boss and whatever other ones like strength and numbers and stuff, you can buff yourself and chickens by a lot. Make you really strong, but yeah, I think Achillo's in a good spot. It might, I don't think it needs a buff or a nerf. As of right now, it seems pretty balanced to me. I played it a little bit. I like the bleed. The rip and kick is really cool. It's not the greatest bleed eater on that at all, which honestly kind of surprises me. I don't think Concavenator. I like Concavenator. It's Concavenator is how it's said, but I say it as Concavenator. Concavenator. I can't say it the same as I used to. I can't say it how I used to say it since I've learned that it's Concavenator. Concavenator. That's how I said it. I said I couldn't, but I can. But yeah, Concavenator or Concavenator. I like it. It's a really good bleeder. It's really like, it's not strong. It's a strong bleeder, but it's extremely squishy. So yeah, but I think that Achillo, given on how large the Sickle Claw is, it should do more bleed on the kick, technically. But I don't want to say to nerf Concave, because Concave's in a pretty bad spot as it is. It's not extremely like strong, but it's not like it's not like weak, but it's not strong, pretty much. It's like, it's pretty balanced how it is in a way. It would be cool to see maybe they could up the health a little bit, like by 50 to 100, and then nerf the bleed on it, on its kick. Or the kick and claw altogether. I like the bleed on it, like I said, but just to balance it out with Achillo and then make Achillo's bleed more, but it does like less damage. So on how the kick does 30 damage and 1.0 bleed on Concave, it would go down to like 0.75 bleed and 30 damage or something, and then Achillo would be the opposite, like 1.0 bleed, but it would do like 20 damage. You get the idea, pretty much what I'm saying. Assuming Sarah and Pack, you're gonna get major like fracture based stuff. Sarah already has it, which is really nice. I like it, but I don't know how they're gonna do Pack. Each Pack can be like a heavy attack, or slightly delayed or something, or they could add it to the charge technically, but that might be a little bit strong. Yeah, that would be cool to see. All of the stuff that I said. Achillo is pretty fine where it is. I wish the Rip and Kick was better for bleed and less good for damage, because I think it does pretty good damage. I think it does like 40 damage or something, which is more damage but less bleed. I love the footprint right here. basically, the kill's in a good spot, concave's in a good spot. I'd rather have the bleed like balanced out, not because concave's too good, but because I think a killer should do more bleed on the ripping kick. It's pretty common to see a killer using the ripping kick, but to be fair, also the ripping kick costs like 0 stam on a killer compared to concave. Concaves cost like double the amount of stamina, so it makes sense there, I guess. But, hats, I say requires a nerf of some sort, either to its health. It has a low combat weight, but it has like pretty high health. That's really annoying, but yeah, I think its health needs a nerf or a not a damage nerf, kind of damage nerf, like make it to where peck barrage can only go up to 100, and then piercing peck goes down to 80. And then also on top of that, it would be cool to see like a stamina cost for both of them, because they do a lot of damage and with very short cooldowns. Peck barrage can be spammed, and then piercing peck can pretty much be spammed. There's a 5-second cooldown on you activating it, but it's about 2 seconds after you're done the whole animation. So you can practically spam a piercing attack that does 100 damage with no repercussions. No stamina cost, no nothing. And it doesn't even make sense why it has a peck barrage or a pierce peck if it's supposed to be a low game killer or small game killer, because the whole point of it is that that's kind of what it was built to be. Realistically, it's supposed to be built to kill small things. But it definitely seems like it's better suited for killing larger things than smaller things, especially because everybody uses the pierce peck or peck barrage, or sometimes they just use both. And also balance it out with its weird, I'm going to turn around instantly and fly away type of playstyle whenever they get low. It would help with that, because if they want to spam the pierce peck or the peck barrage, then they're going to be draining their stamina, meaning that they can't take off after a certain amount of times used, pretty much. And then it would also give you a bonus to your normal peck, which gives you stamina whenever you hit a target with it. So you can, most likely the builds would be normal peck for stamina recovery, and then pierce peck or peck barrage for stamina cost, but like good damage. To where, yeah, basically you can drain all of your stamina if you're reckless, pretty much, and you will not be able to escape. And by then you should hopefully be able to kill the target at the same time. Also, I have no idea why I wanted to kill that guy. I really like my Chilingosaurus and Stego idea. I went pretty in depth on it, so I like it a lot. But once again, it's a biased opinion, because it's something that I like. If I say it, that means I like it pretty much. If I say that this is good, then I'm gonna be like, yeah, this is good, no matter what you really say. I can agree on some points, like why it's bad maybe, but saying like something, like I say that something's good and you say that something's bad, I'm not gonna say that, oh yeah, it's fucking trash. I'm gonna be like, pretty much saying, explain how it's bad, and then I'll probably agree, depending on if it's actually like a bad thing about it. Like a burst gun on Call of Duty, I guess. A lot of people don't like burst guns on Call of Duty. I like them, they're pretty cool. And they do good damage. You can almost one-shot them with a full burst. But people will be like, oh, well, burst is bad, because if you can't hear your shots, it has a pretty long, or not pretty long, but pretty much a slow fire rate after the burst. But if, like, yeah, that's a downside, but the upside is that you can do a lot of damage really quickly if you can hit your shots. Good. I like burst more than full autos. Usually. Sometimes they're not that good. And also, usually bursts are more accurate in most games. But, yeah. I'm gonna be biased towards it. No matter what I say, I'm gonna be biased towards something. But I will try, I usually try my best to not be, like, extremely biased. Like, I'm gonna be somewhat biased, but I'm not gonna be extremely biased. Like, saying you don't have a bias is having an ego also, by the way. But I can't say that I don't have a bias. Everybody has a bias. I have a bias. I have biases mostly for like certain dinosaurs, but not in the way that like other people have it. Like other people have it for like a kilo in hats usually, but I usually have it towards like Mira, Stego, and Kentro. Like if somebody's like, "Are these dinosaurs good?" I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, they're good," but you know it's hard to use, so it's kind of bad. But it's good if you know how to use tail-based dinos. And all of them usually have their different playstyles that are really cool. Because Mira's like a mix between the two. I'm gonna do that. Like I said, I kind of wish that there was a better suggestion system. Like I know on some modded servers, it's just right in the Discord. There's just a channel and it's like talking about suggestions. You basically type like a certain thing to say if it's a suggestion or not, and some people there's like another thing that you can do to type if you're like saying something about their suggestion, like to balance it out. Maybe if you're just like looking at it and like that doesn't sound too good, maybe change this and here and there. I think that would be a better system for Path, but to be fair, there'd be a lot of people talking about it, and I think that's the reason why they do the suggestion system the way it is, because a lot of people are going to be suggesting a lot of kind of outrageous type things, I guess. Really imbalanced, really overpowered, or just a lot in general, because there's a lot of people that play this game. So it's likely that a lot of people would be doing that to just suggest a bunch of random things and things like that that, I mean, biased opinion, sometimes they should not be added to the game. But I don't know. It's hard to have it to where you can suggest something when you're not neurotypical and actually have them like care about it or see it. Because, like I said, it's kind of like, I don't say. It's kind of like a lot of things. Like a lot of things to where, like, I saw this one like weird suggestion for like on how healthcare should be or something in real life. Kind of a little bit off topic, but basically it's gonna be like this. So there's somebody that said something about like healthcare should not be provided to people that have medical issues, or not medical issues. That's really that's really far. I mean like things like drug abuse or things like that. Things or like smoking. So yeah, but then there was like basically the counter like suggestion for that was that basically the whole point is to help the people try and recover. So doing that, yes, that can help suggest to people that they shouldn't like be doing it pretty much. But there's some people that are like in really bad places like depression and stuff because of it. Like that would cause them to be even more depressed or something like that, and then would then usually cause it to be worse for them that are actually trying to get better. It would be worse for the people that are actually trying to get better, but it motivates the people that... It's weird, like I said. One way it's like helping people get better, but in the other way it's hindering people to get better. It's hindering the people to get better that are actually trying, and it's helping the people to get better that aren't really thinking about it. So, like, it's a good idea, but you can't, you need a best of both worlds, pretty much. Like, on how the suggestion system, you can think about it kind of like that. It's obviously way different, but kind of take that and just copy and paste it, pretty much. In one way, it's helping the people that always think the same, but in the other way, it's overshadowing or just blocking the view of the people that have more just different opinions, more unique, more non-neurotypical opinions, pretty much. So it's a good system, but it's bad. Kind of like on how that one thing was. It's a good system to help some people, but it hinders the other people that are actually trying. And then for the other one, for the other thing, like for suggestions, it's helping the people that always think that, like, that all think the exact same way, but then it's hindering the few people that are thinking more better and outside the box. Because some people, like, especially for like Stego opinions and stuff, nobody likes Stego. I've seen that. Nobody really likes to play Stego. It's pretty uncommon to find a Stego. If I see one, I always just chill around it because it's pretty rare. But like if I were to post that on the suggestion thing, I bet it won't get over 10. Just because nobody's looking up to help out a Stego change. Nobody cares about Stego. Because bad how it is now, the people that just don't like Stego because it's bad now, would not like to try and see it better. They just want it to stay the same way pretty much. Well, not that they want it to stay the same way, but that they don't want to help get it better. I always think the Isle looks so much better than Path, but the rays are so good. I love the rays in this game. They made the sun very nice. It looks a little bit weird at some time. Like, it doesn't look like the greatest rays of all time. Like on how it's like really, really red to me, and a lot of things like that. And the sky is pink, but like a pinkish purple. It looks like the air in Gmod. How it's like a black and like a weird purplish pink color. But looks really good. It's a good first step for a beta. This game is technically in beta still. I'm pretty sure it's very early beta as well. So they have a lot to add still, so most likely I'm hoping that Stego will get TLC at some point. Pretty sure that they said that every dino will in somewhere that I can't remember, but I just realized I had pine cones. Also, I think I'm looking at a dino, or I'm looking at a tree. I think I'm looking at a tree that's like going back and forth, and it looks kind of like a dino. People are I wonder why there has been no players. I'm indeed gonna swap servers because I'm not playing on a server with 18 people. It'd be good for growing safely, but not entertaining. I wonder how long I've been on an 18-player server. It's probably been like the entire time. And my shoulders, well, my shoulder blades are extremely sore. I would love to be able to actually suggest things to them without, like, my opinions, because I'm gonna say it again. I like my opinions a lot. It's a bias. Everybody has a bias in their brain. Everybody has an ego in their brain, technically. You can try and hide your ego, which usually people will take that as you have a bigger ego than the person originally thought if you're trying to hide it, pretty much. Which is how the quote works. If they say that they don't have an ego, it means that they have a bigger ego than before. Which, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of people that I've played with that say that they don't have an ego, and they have the biggest egos of all time before that. And there's some people that I play with that say, yeah, I have a small ego, or I have an okay ego. I don't like ego everything, but I have an ego for some things, and they're usually pretty chill and don't really have an ego. But the quote makes sense, but once again, it doesn't. There's some people that literally basically don't have an ego. There's almost nothing that they will ever do that is ego-based, but the quote will work against them anyway. So them saying that they have pretty much no ego or no ego at all is meaning that they should have a bigger ego than before, but sometimes it doesn't work. Like on how the healthcare thing worked and how the Path of Titan suggestion system works. Is that it works to help the people that are like either not good or just help the main people that are The people that act the same or think the same or are just in a bad, like, not good places, and they are purposefully there. And then it hinders the people that are actually trying, thinking outside the box, actually don't have an ego. It's pretty rare to find somebody that has pretty much zero ego, and I'm not gonna say that I don't have an ego. Like I said, I have a ego, but it's definitely not large. If anything, it's not medium. I thought it was an no-give. That's better. How much time is on the server? Crazy. I'm not really afraid of a lean if it's just a lean by itself. I'm afraid of its friends, though. Where did he go? I feel like he's in this bush. Or one of these bushes. Either that or I just didn't see him run away. Oh. He was in the bush. He was up there. Can't really underestimate people in this game mode because most likely they're grouped up, which they are but aren't supposed to be. I actually read that in the Discord. Technically, the developers said that it's not intended for you. Like, it's supposed to help solo players because group players cannot waste them, they cannot nest, they cannot be in groups so they can't see each other's name tags and health and stuff like that. But it doesn't ban them from doing so, pretty much. They're allowed to do it, but it just is supposed to hinder them and help solos more because the groups have the hindrance, but it still is obviously against solos. Either way, it's gonna be against solos, but unless it's purely solo only, which I don't think it should only be solo only. Like I said, I think it would be. I mean, this is a good system. It works. I wish nesting was in here though, because nesting's fun. And nesting isn't really like that bad for getting friends, because then you basically, instead of having a waystone, you could nest them, but then they'd have to be a fresh baby. Oh, like I said, a little kilo and 2 lanes. One's a little lane. Like I said, it's basically just that they're scouts. And I'm not afraid of any of them, honestly, because I can hit them while they're pouncing on me, I'm pretty sure, with my normal tail tack. The charge tail cannon as well. If I know that you can hit them at least on the hind legs, I'm actually gonna do an attack to check. Yeah, you can at least hit the tail of them if they're on their front shoulders, but on your back legs, they can get hit. Lash can hit them on the left side, on the tail, but can still hit them, and it can knock them off as well. But yeah, I just wish that I had a better way to suggest to the devs what I want, pretty much. There's the hats up there. But yeah, on this on Permadeath solo Permadeath, it's basically just full of scouts and groups that are separated but together, and usually like medium to large items like hats. Like this guy's definitely gonna come for me. I can already see him. Most likely, I have a feeling that he's coming for me, and I don't know if I'm capable of fighting him, but I can't run from him. It's a hats. And I probably can't win because of hats, and also because of it all, but I'm gonna sit there up there and regen Sam before it comes down. His pierce shouldn't help him that much compared to me being an adult, but why is he using clamp on me? I'm honestly scared of him very much. To be fair, it's a almost full charge. I don't even know if I hit the charge, honestly. I blacked out pretty much. I did not really focus on what was happening. I know I hit him with the lash, normal tail tack. I think I hit him with the charge, and I don't even know if it was full or not, but it was close if it wasn't. And I don't even know if I hit him, so. Oh, yay. I'm just getting attacked by all the critters. Just walked right past the hats, but it goes for me instead. The 2 turtles. I wouldn't be surprised if the hats was getting rid of this. Nothing I can do about it, so. I can run away. Oh, my sprint didn't work. My left foot didn't work. I think new games. I think it's the game that does it because it doesn't do any other game, but. This is a bad hat. I don't even know why he didn't pick me up. I don't get the point. Does he think it's like a heavy attack or something? Like a heavy bite? I would throw him off the ledge, but he's just gonna take off. Keep on questing. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he has another hats coming or something like that, but if he does, and that it is what it is, it's about how the quote-unquote solo game mode's supposed to work, so. Help solos, but hats isn't a creature that you need to be in a group to do anything better. If you're just not in a group, it doesn't mean. That hat's not even a good build. He's definitely adult though, but he's just using a not good. You can do that now. Alright. This hat is funny. Like I said, neurotypical thing. A lot. Most likely that they use Peck Barrage or Pierce Peck because it works out for all of them, so then they all think the same way. Like on Mira, everybody loves the Barrage tail attack. If he doesn't change up how he plays, he's not gonna win. If he doesn't get a Pierce Peck or at least learns not to try and grab me. I get it. It literally just stopped chasing him to come after me. Flies away and sit and wait until all of his toxin is gone. He didn't even do that much damage, honestly. He's definitely not a good hat. I can say that, but he's new. He definitely seems like a new player, or just a new hats player in general. Why he's trying to grab me earlier, I have no idea. And like I said, neurotypical response, he instead swapped to Peck Barrage and Pierce Peck, which are the 2 main abilities that every hat uses. So as you can imagine, neurotypical response, and then those are usually the same people that have a bias towards on how it's so bad and not that good just because they're not good with it. With a pretty easy dino as well. Not to call hats players bad, but they're bad. 90% of them that I fought are just either terrible or just crutch the kit, which kind of goes in with being terrible, so not much different there. Pretty sure all of his toxin is gone. I don't see any on him, but I think I see paralysis. Oh, he might be out of range for me to see paralysis on him. I saw it for a second, I feel like, but he just be lying. Lane and kilos are still here. I saw two different lanes. They're pretty funny. Yep, Hat's leaving. That's the way Hat should be. He didn't really do much to me, to be fair. And he should have done way more damage to me, but that's just player skill. Not because Hat's is bad. And definitely not because Mirror is good. Mirror is good, but it's not. Hat should not be able to do 0 damage to me if they're good. He killed you. Oh, he's selecting words. I forget how much damage everything does. I think the normal tail attack does 50 damage from the buff. I do know that. Charge tail does 90 or 80. I think it's 80, and then tail barrage, if you hit all 3 of them, do 90, but it costs stam. And it cancels you from being able to use lash, and lash does 70, I believe. Of course, the more damage, the more stats effect is applied, I'm pretty sure, as well. So, the tail barrage does the most stats effect, charge tail is second most, then lash, and then normal tail attack, but I could be wrong on that. There's a lot of attacks, or a lot of dinos that work the opposite way, where the less damage, the more stats effect, but as far as I know on Mirror, it's the more damage, the more stats effect. At least lash does a lot, I know that. They like to jump a lot. Where are they going? Yeah, this is a much better stream than when I was playing Campto. Not much has happened throughout all my growth, but I've fought Hats off when... Oh, that's a different one. I ran at him through it purposely so he couldn't turn around in time. That was bad on me. No charges. I'm assuming he's about half or a little bit less, and he's mostly just afraid because of the toxin. And then he goes for the baby a kilo. It's crazy. And see, he did way more damage. He's using the normal peck, which does way less damage than the peck barrage and the pierce peck, but he did way more damage to me than the other one did. They're both the same growth stage, I'm pretty sure. But the only difference is that one was just better. I don't know what other attack he's using that he's not using, probably clamp. But like I said, they're kind of just bad players. And there's some that are pretty decent to good. And pretty good with Hats isn't really a flex. It's pretty basic to be good with him, but that lash earlier was really bad. I thought he was going to stay on my left for longer, but like I said, he can precise turn instantly, and that's what he did. He precise turned and ran away. He was probably just hungry for food. That's probably why he just came over and instantly started going for me, because he didn't know anything else was closer. Especially because he's trying to eat a baby corpse, which doesn't exist anymore. Because of the... Oh, he got 3 bites. Might be adolescent. No more than 3, though. So, yeah, that kill might have been adolescent, like early. Or late juvie. But usually, babies don't really give you anything anymore. And I could have chased him. I don't really feel bad. I kind of do feel bad for the last in a kill though, because yeah, but I didn't really want to run over there because I wanted to help the Akilo in lap, but because I wanted to finish the hats off because hats are so much fun. Oh, and they're extremely easy to run now because especially on here, because you get like half a bar of growth that you go into, and hats could just fly across the map and reach all the biomes. Where'd the hats go? We're just chilling. His diary flew away and I just didn't hear him. Also, my phone's off, so I doubt you're typing messages because, like I said, I think you're either about or just watching and not like interacting, which, like I said, is fine. If you're not interacting or anything, perfectly fine. But I'm just saying. I'm gonna open up my Twitch anyway, just to be sure. Yeah. Seems like nothing happened. I always get afraid that, like, say you said like, you actually said something, but I just didn't, like, see it. What is it running at me, lat? Oh, no, turtle. I don't know, I didn't think about the turtle, but yeah, I'm just gonna head back towards Dark Woods and cross through, and just quest on my way over there, because I like Dark Woods a lot. And on my camp though VOD, I also just stuck between these main areas, because these are just my favorite questing routes. Dark Woods usually isn't dead, Whistling Column usually isn't dead, Dried Lake is especially not dead. That's like one of the most popular places I've found on the map so far. And Young Grove is also not usually dead at all and decently popular. But they're decent, like they're really good quests while also having a decent chance to find people for like action. I don't like to just run around and just fight people or anything like that. I don't want people to really fight me necessarily, but when I'm fighting, or whenever I'm streaming, I kind of have to try and get in the fights or do something entertaining, because just walking around questing is not entertaining. It's good, like I like it. I like to walk around in like, not dead places, but decently dead places and just quest. So it's less likely that I'll find people while being able to grow pretty well, but on stream, I can't really do that because nobody's gonna like it. Like, oh, I can't wait to get home today and just quest. Like, yeah, nobody does that. If you do, then you're fine. But once again, neurotypical, well, opposite neurotypical, kind of neurotypical. I have to think about the neurotypical people and more than the non-neurotypical people. Which, like, the more typical people like fights more than questing, and some non-neurotypical people may not like fighting more than questing and might like questing more, but just not me. I like fighting more than questing, but the thing is that I just don't like seek fights when I know I can't win them, or when I know that I don't have a chance pretty much. That Hats could have killed me there if he was playing better, I guess. Like, had better abilities. But, I don't know why he was only using Peck. I don't know what else he could have. He might have. No. I was gonna say he might have done things like trophy growing, but that doesn't really exist on here. It's possible, actually, but unlikely. Because on official, there's a thing called trophy growing. Pretty much you can grow a dino by just giving it trophies that a friend picked up. So you can just have a friend bring you trophies, and they don't really give you a lot of marks. So usually what happens is that you will be a dom, but you won't have like any abilities at all because you have like no money to buy the abilities. So it is possible that he was trophy grown, but I doubt it. I think that he might have just had clamp, and the reason why I didn't use clamp on the baby Akilo, which he could have, excuse me, is because of his stamina. his stamina would have probably been low from running around decently during the fight and just flying to me from half a mile away and then flying away from me. So he probably didn't have enough stamina to really clamp and fly away with it. And I'm just gonna do this right in the middle of the open. But I don't think this affects me if I'm not in a group. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, group marks. I wasn't looking for the reflective damage one, I was looking for the armor. But yeah, this nine is definitely like group based. You're built to have a group. Probably gonna get this skin because it's cheap and looks pretty good. I use that in overgrown usually on officials. How does albino look? Very pink. Doesn't really look that good. It's a little bit like brownish, not white enough. In game it might look better, but in that menu it's not white enough, I guess. I like white on albino skins. I don't really like the pink that much, or the yellow. Technically, the yellow and pink with the white is leucistic, I think it's called, which is just another basically like albinism for creatures, how they usually just turn like all white and then their eyes are usually like a pink or white color that are really weird, or like a red color. But for other creatures there's possible leucistic, I forget what it's called, leucisticism probably, but basically it's just a mixture of white, yellow, and pink, but it's like primarily yellow pretty much. You'll see white here, you'll see pink more often than white, but it's mostly like yellow. It looks cool. But basically albinism in this game is can be either albinism or leucistism. I don't know. I'm not that smart. Well, I am, but that's an ego. That's an ego and a bias. But I just don't really investigate leucistism or whatever. I'm invested. Well, I investigated like albinism and melanism a little bit, mostly targeted because of this game. So I wanted to see what it was, and the main things I really saw were that really albinism is mostly found in crocodiles. I think it was crocodiles, it could have been alligators, but a type of crocodile it's mostly found in. And then melanism is mostly found in squirrels. I know humans can get albinism, but I wonder if humans can also get melanism. Probably. I think they're both possible. I wonder if that's possible in every type of living creature. Because obviously it's most common found in these types of creatures, but like, I wonder if every single creature can get them. Because to me it doesn't seem like there's no reason why it shouldn't. But to be fair, there's some creatures that, I could be wrong on this, I don't investigate it, but there's some creatures that could just possibly not have any melatonin. What? No, my bad. Melanin, not melatonin. I'm dumb. But there's some creatures that, like I said, I could be wrong on that, have no melanin in them at all, and that's why they don't get melanism. And same thing with albinism, although I don't know what it's called for albinism. Like what the thing that changes the color or the pigmentation of their skin is for albinism. And yeah, I don't know what leucistic. I don't even know what creatures have that. I think crocodiles also have leucistic. You found albinism or albinistic crocs and leucistic crocs, I think, and squirrels are usually melanistic. but like I said, I think it is possible for every creature that has melanin and whatever the other ones are for leucistic, yeah, and albinism. Yeah, as long as they have some sort of the thing, or a decent amount of the thing for their pigmentation, I'm pretty sure it's possible to get. I like to just randomly find something to talk about and just keep on going. Hopefully it'll be good for entertainment. Instead of this boring, just walk around and pick up pine cones and flowers the entire time. It'd be a little bit more entertaining. Or annoying. One or the other. Both work, but one or the other is true. Or to be fair, people could just blurt it out, just ignore it completely. Not because annoying, but just because they don't really focus on it. Ooh, I'm hungry. And also, I said this in the last stream, and I'm going to say it again in case more people will watch this stream or the YouTube video version of the VOD, or just the VOD in general. Let me know if there's any problems, like if my mic is too loud, too quiet. I know that my mic has it can pick up very quiet noises, so it's definitely like loud, but do I need to turn it down? Do I need to turn it up? Do I need to turn the game up and the volume up? Or, like, I can change how loud the game volume is and my mic volume is in the stream. So, if you'd rather it be louder on both of them, or, you know, just let me know. I should probably do, like, a test to show exactly how much of a difference of one tick of game, like, the audio changes are. But yeah, just let me know if any of you that watch would like to see different audio changes, or I can't even change any visual changes. Whatever the stream looks like for you is the best it can look like on console, or on Xbox. And I know on YouTube it looks pretty bad. On stream it's not that bad, but on YouTube for some reason it looks really bad. Like it looks like it's in 480p. It has a lot of, it looks more like it's a 64-bit game. That's what it looks like. Oh, and the FPS isn't very good on the YouTube version of it either. I don't really understand why it is that way. Maybe it was a problem with YouTube and Twitch when they were transferring it between each other, but yeah, it just doesn't look that good. Or sound that good. But yeah, just let me know if there's any problems with anything, and if you, like with the visual, on how the visual is like really weird on YouTube, if you have any fix for that, I can use on console with only a phone and Xbox, let me know. I would like to see on if that is actually a pretty big problem, which I assume it is, because personally I don't really watch people that have really bad, like, graphics or really bad FPS, but if anybody really has a cure for that doesn't require me to spend money, I'd like to see it. I'm gonna be on the prowl for Matt whenever he is typing in any of the chats. Or just any dev. I think Matt's the only one that actually talks. I have never seen another dev talk, and if they did, then I've never seen it. I have no idea how to even tell if they're a dev or not, because they don't really have roles, they just have their name. And Matt is the person that types every update. Like, shows every update in the Discord and stuff. It's just known that Matt is the main dev. But I have no idea if there's any other devs that even type in the Discord, and if they do, then I've never seen them. And if there's a chance that I've seen them, but there's no way to really tell. And I doubt it way more. I doubt it a lot more that they would even see this video. If they would see this video, or VOD, on YouTube, or on stream, anywhere, I would be like blessed. I would be extremely surprised because I can't even find my own video without having to look up the exact name. If I look up Path of Titans, I will never find this video unless I scroll for like an hour. So I would be extremely surprised if Matt or any of the developers saw this, and if they do, then it would be the best way to describe exactly what I said about on how certain dinos I like the updates for. Like I would like an update for them, or new dinos, or new updates. But yeah, it would be perfect. It would be the perfect way, because the only other way that I can do it is typing, and like I said, there's a lot to cover. Even with just saying about adding Chiling and adding a Stego TLC, that's gonna take me so long to type, and it would be a very long sentence. But it'd be like 2 paragraphs. When people, neurotypical response, when people usually say, you're writing paragraphs or something, they usually mean it as either a joke or that they just can't read, which honestly, that's what I use every time. Just tell me you can't read. But yeah, I don't understand that. I hate when people act that way. When they say you're writing paragraphs, I ain't reading all that or anything like that. It's just boring, bland, dry. Everybody uses it, and like I said, just tell me that you're not a good reader. But off that, basically it's gonna be the same way, but for a dev. And if I do manage to find a dev, by the time I get done, they're probably not even gonna be in the chat anymore, and I doubt they're even gonna read the whole thing, unless they really are invested in it, which I have to have a really good hook to get them invested into all of what I would say. I would probably, just to start, I would probably, in typing it, I'd probably see them, I'd say, do you care if I tell you like suggestions about new dinos or dino TLCs? And I might like list what dinos I'm talking about. You know. But yeah, most likely they're just not. Like I said, the only hope is that they will actually say yes, and then after that I would have to say you might want to go somewhere else or do something to occupy yourself while I type, because it's going to be a long one. And then, yeah, that's really it. Ooh, I think my thing turned off. No, it didn't. I think I just got I don't know. You don't know how whenever you get so hot you feel cold? I don't know what that is, but I feel like I just got that. Because I feel extremely cold right now, but I am under a heated blanket because it's actually pretty cold. But I'm like sweating at the same time. I'll call it cold sweats, but that's the opposite. Whenever you're so cold but you're like hot. That actually might be what it is. When you're so hot that you get like, no, it's definitely like cold sweats. I don't understand. I'm not thinking, but yeah, it just got really cold for me, even though the heated blanket's still on max, and yeah, I can definitely feel it, but I just got really cold for a second. Just a shiver, I guess. Little hats flying. That's indeed not a little hat. I'm very smart. I don't know if you can tell, I'm just like so smart. I'm 100% accurate in everything that I say, without any differences. Obviously. I'm gonna say obviously just to make sure that you know that I'm not actually meaning that. And honestly, I wish I could become a game dev, honestly. I have so many cool ideas for things in games, and how to play them, and how to change them. But I'm just, I don't know. I could probably try and do it. I just don't have a laptop or a PC or anything, and in general, I just can't. There's a lot of steps to get into game dev, and game dev doesn't really do anything for you early on. it's a good long-term thing. Like later, like once you reach it past the early stage, because the early stage is mostly just like training, which kind of every job has, but it's more of like you kind of train passively. For game dev, you have to purposefully be training for game dev. And I mean, there's some jobs that work that way, like mechanics and stuff. You purposefully have to be trying to become a mechanic to go into in-depth training and become a mechanic. But there's some things like McDonald's and other like basic things, like you kind of just know how to do them. Like it's, yes, you still require training, like not like extreme training or anything, but like you need to know how to do it, which usually things like at McDonald's or fast food places or something is usually just self-explanatory. Like you've already learned it as you grew, so you just passively learned how to work there, which is also probably the reason why the jobs are not that high paying. Also because you don't really make an insane amount of money either. But you get the idea. And game dev is one of those things that you have to do very, as far as I know, pretty extensive training, like a couple of years maybe. Well, technically you are never done learning game dev, but in order to really start game dev, to actually start getting stuff like profit or money or actual gain from it, pretty much, I'm pretty sure it takes like 2-3 years maybe. Depends really how good you are, how much, how talented you are, how naturally talented you are in taking how to become a game dev, how good your training is, stuff like that. But as far as I can think of right now, in terms of like without any opinions, commonly I would say it probably takes at least 5 years to get any sort of profit on game dev. That's after you do a bunch of training that I'm pretty sure the better it is, the more expensive it is. Plus you have to get a PC or a laptop, one or the other. PC, which are, depending on how good it is, pretty expensive. Then you have to get a training program, as far as I know. You can probably find ones for free, but they probably, honestly, you probably couldn't really find ones for free unless they're like your friend or something. But unlikely to find one that's free. So you have to spend money monthly, I'm pretty sure, to have a training program. Or you could technically just teach yourself while watching YouTube or something, but that would probably take longer. And then, you'd probably do like some small projects, like little doo-doo horror games, or like just platformers, depending on what game genre you want to go into. You'd probably do some like basic stuff like that. Like if you want 2D games, you'd probably start by platformers, like pretty much like a ripoff of Mario or something. And then for like horror, you'd probably do one of the doo-doo horror games or something. Caves. Just something short and easy, with either little to no profit, little to no money cost. I mean, like free or just like very little, like $1.99, $2.99, up to $4.99 probably. But, yeah, for the most part, game dev has, as far as I know, zero profit for a long time. So you basically have to work on becoming a game dev, either depending on how your life goes, honestly. You can either work on becoming a game dev while having an actual job, so you have to work less on becoming a game dev, but work and then have a job to pay for eating and food and all your basic needs, while learning how to become a game dev for many years. Or you would possibly, this is probably best case for becoming a game dev itself, but like probably not that good in general, is that's the hats from earlier that was in Fred Lake. I think it was the one that was killing the baby because it's armor. But yeah, game dev just has extensive training, and most likely you're not going to get profit or any value out of it for a long time, so you have to have a normal job in the meantime. Or you can be, I guess, lucky. I guess lucky for game dev, if you're trying to learn game dev, but unlikely, like living with a friend or living with your family or something past, like, you're gonna meet. Or best case, you learn how to do game dev while you're still underage. So you can learn how to do game dev really early, like probably 12 years old by the time that you're 18, you should hopefully have enough like training to where you can at least release pretty cheap games, or you can have really good ones depending on how good you actually are. And then you can get money from that, and then you'd be able to move out. But I find that pretty unlikely for a lot of people, because main thing, unless you're like a prodigy or extremely talented, you can't really know how to make a game. Not that you can't learn how to make a game, but how to balance a game pretty much. How to make a game that's actually enjoyable without being old. That's kind of like wisdom in a way. You don't have to be extremely old to be able to know how people like games and stuff like that, or how you want to make your game to where the other people like it in ways. But you still need a big, very, very, very basic level of wisdom to be able to understand like what people like, stuff like that, and needs. So if you start making, you could start learning game dev early on, but you can't really capitalize off of it or do anything off of it really until you're older. Like at least 13 or 14. Depends how early you like mature and learn how things work. That's how you can determine really when you're capable of making a game that you can actually sell for money. Just sell in general, pretty much. Oh, second pick now. Teamers. I see you standing there, sir. Waiting for the charge. I do way more damage than you do. Knockout tailing is not gonna be all that you can do to kill me. I'm assuming he has head slam and knockout and charge, but he's also using knockout. It's interesting. I don't want him to really face me, and if he does, I want to give him a damage. I know, I could have just ran right there to be able to catch him, but I didn't really want to spend a lot of my stamina. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's good to see. Good damage. Oh, they bring us here. Mostly worried about the charge. I don't really care about the knockout that much. They have a lot of toxin on them. Not much for Allison. I just want to have this charged at all times pretty much. If that hatch comes down, I'm gonna be pissed. Yeah, he's going for the pick now. But the pick no whenever that's a range here. They're definitely friends. They're this is the other one. It's not fighting him right now. Where do you get? Oh, I see him. Just be standing there. Safe to sit down. Hats might go for me. Nope. Yeah, that pick no is low. This one is also low. But he got rid of the majority of everything. Or everything. Is that even the same pick no? He has no paralysis or toxin on him, I don't think. I think he's different. I doubt it, but I think the skin's different as well. Like I said, I kind of doubt it, honestly. It was a fun fight. That is entertaining. That was a pretty fun fight for me. In my opinion, I like that fight. Even if I died there, I would have liked that fight. To be honest, I would be very disappointed in myself if I died to 2 Picknos using Knockout Tail against Mirror. But yeah, like Picknos, if they use Charge, they have a way better chance of killing me. But I don't know why they were using primarily Knockout, probably because it didn't call Stamina. Charge was like double the damage. But I'll take it. They weren't the smartest players, but I'll take it. Another main problem, I could do 2 different things. I could post my fights in like one different playlist, and the other playlist is about the whole VOD. So you can watch the whole VOD to see the growth and how everything really happened, and then you can watch the clips if you are more, I guess, ADHD focused. Not necessarily meaning that, but basically people that want to see fights instead of just like growing and walking around and stuff. But I don't really have the editing technology to do so, I don't think. Like, it's possible. I'm pretty sure Twitch does that, but like Twitch allows me to be able to do so with highlights, but on mobile, it's really confusing to me. I don't understand how it works on mobile. I could that's a ramp, I'm pretty sure, based on how fast it was flapping. Actually, I think it's a Thal again. Yeah, it's Thal. The reason why it was flapping so much was because I think it was just going straight up. Thal seems very boring to grow on here. Oh, and server's gonna close soon. Might as well just log out here while I heal. Not because I'm trying to avoid them or anything, but server's gonna end anyway, and I'd rather just log out while at full HP or near and find a new server. And while after I log out, I'm probably gonna go use the bathroom and get a drink because I'm thirsty, and food because I'm hungry. But this is a much better VOD. This performs way better than my Campto one did. Personally, not like in terms of views. Actually, the Campto one had more views on stream, but I find this one to be way more entertaining for a majority of people. Still not that entertaining, but better. It's better. It's more entertaining than the other one was. So, good enough. I'll try to do like a playlist for fights, like for only fights, because I have 3 decently good ones so far. I didn't get to kill any of them, but to be fair, the whole point of, well, in my opinion, the main point of herbivores are not just to kill them, but at least to hinder them enough to where they just give up. That's how I like to play herbivores, at least, like Mira and Kentro. It's not about finishing them off, unless you know that they're going to come back. The main point that I like to play is that if I can hinder them enough to where that they will leave me alone, that's a win. That's kind of the point of herbivores to me. So, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go take a break, probably like 5-10 minutes. My shoulders are so sore, but yeah. Alright, I'll be back. Good time. Oof. My back is so sore. Pause. I mean, like my shoulder blades area. I don't even know what I did to get it to be so sore, but it is. I was muted. My bad. That Picno, I said it's fine if he doesn't want to fight me, but I could tell by his footsteps that it was Picno. It looks like the same skin as the one earlier that I said I cannot really confirm that it's one of the Picnos that were fighting me, but it most likely was because it went in the same area and then came back. So, most likely, the reason why he's not fighting me yet is because he's waiting for his friend to come kill me. Given they know how to use charge now. If they don't, then honestly, I don't want to have... I mean, this is an ego, but I don't really think it's that bad. I don't think they're going to kill me with knockout. Unless they sit there and metagame forever. Not metagame. Well, technically, yeah. I mean, like, cheese. Like, just sit there and keep on regenerating stamina and health constantly while the other one is attacking me and just repeat that over and over again. That's what I mean by metagame. But cheese is a better word for it. to be friends though. I think the chicken might be fighting the mirror. I don't know if I could help him, but that same one. He can walk up there, that's crazy. I can't walk over the smallest edge, but he can walk all the way up a fucking mountain. Spino is crazy. 2 Spinos is crazy. You do not want to pounce me. 2 Spinos for me is crazy. That was a funny bug animation. I don't think the Spino. I like no stamina calls on Charge Tail and Mirror. I just gotta save my stamina. Oh, yeah, they're definitely all of them. that much. Spino's still following. If I die, then this just proves how weird these players are, but I don't think there's really any way to die at Ego, once again, but the only thing that can really affect me is if I somehow get destroyed by the Spino, and then Picno just chases me down and charges me. Only thing that can really affect me. Also, I'm gonna run a little bit just so I am gaining distance while I just regen my stand. I'm still gaining distance from missions to the fight. I don't think he's with the Spinos, but the Spinos are just being weird. Yeah, one's coming towards me and the other one's going towards him, but they might just be trying to sandwich me, so. I keep walking. And then running, and then walking. Because I can regen my stamina way better. Also, I just saw something dead to my left. Looked like an 80. And it still looks like an 80. Yeah, you give up now. Oh, they want Picno now. And Denon. Wow, that really hurt me. Yeah, they're trying to slow me down for the Spinos. Almost got him. I think they're just here for the food, really, or they're just going for anybody. Oh, looks like the food. Yeah, food is what they want, so that's why they're third party, so that's fine. I just thought that he was with the Picno. If he was with the Picno and Denon, that was weird, but I didn't really, like, I wanted to help the baby mirror with the chickens, but I didn't really care, honestly, until the Picno started fighting. Once the Picno started fighting, I'm perfectly fine with fighting. Nope, look like they care more now. Just slightly more than they originally had. Yeah, I really can't tell. I think they're just third parties. Like they're neutral. They're not with anybody. They're obviously not with me. I don't think it seems like they would be with me to the pick now. I think the only real problem is that it's possible that it's still with the Picno, but I'm pretty sure it's not with the Picno because the Denons are with the Picno, and they're killing a Denon, so I think it's pretty likely that it's not the case. He's gonna try and farm in. That hit me on the body. That's really hit me on the body. Yeah, they're just neutral. They're just here to eat. Pretty boring fight against the victim. Oh, nope. Denon's on the Spino. I should have tail attacked. I didn't even realize that he was landing right next to me. He was landing close to me, but... That's, yeah, this health is much more threatening. If the critter goes for me and not the Denon that he's standing right next to. Crazy. Charge is way more effective than knockout. He would have killed me by now a long time ago if he's using charge instead of knockout, because knockout ain't doing nothing to help him. I didn't really do anything with no charge, but I think I hit him on the tail. It's minus. Oh, there's a stego up here. That's cool, I guess. Doesn't know that I'm loaded yet. I might just try and make my way to the home cave because this. Nope. Rips there. Stick his legs. That hit me on the body is crazy. Literally hit me in like the middle of my tail, but okay. Okay. The longest like charge in history to be able to hit somebody with and it doesn't hit them. So much fun. This small threat that's constantly chasing us. And the critter only goes for me. Doesn't go for a pick, no, but it goes for me. Doesn't go for the Denons that it was standing under earlier. Oh, Permadeath is so much fun. Hours 43 is a lot less than I thought it was. I thought it was like 3 hours, but... Yep. Boring ass fight. No fun. Like I said, the only way that he was going to actually be able to kill me is by cheesing me, and that's all he did the entire time. Just kept on using knockout and knockout and knockout and knockout while Spinos were chasing us, which the Spinos weren't with him, but it was helping him more than it was helping me because I actually have to manage my stamina and my speed because I can actually be caught by Spinos, whereas he cannot. Also, he was just eating hits. I just kept on hitting him on like the body and stuff. I hit him so many times. I hit him like 20 times total on the body. Probably less, but yeah. I hit him a lot, at least 10 times on the body with a normal tail attack. And that should be enough to get him low. But apparently I'm on 1 HP when he hits me with like 2 charges. Or 2 charges to the body, which yeah, that does like a fifth of my health. And then like 2 knockouts to my body, which is way less. And then the rest were just hitting the tip of my tail, and I just can't do anything about it. Just so, dry throat. So annoying. And yeah, there's 2 to 3 Denons that were just really annoying. I think there's a total of 4, but the Spinos killed 2. And then the Spinos were just constantly basically being more of a threat to me than it was the Spino. At some points, the Spino went for the Picno, but I couldn't escape the Picno. And that's really it. I couldn't escape the Picno, so he just cheesed me the entire time. And then both of the charge knockouts that hit me on body, one of them might have hit me, but the other one definitely hit my tail. It hit like the middle to bottom of my tail before it, before it reached my body. way before it reached my body. It definitely hit my tail like right here, and then it swung all the way through, and it hit here somehow. And that's when it actually hit me, even though the tail hit here. And the other one was basically the same thing, but it was just closer to the body, which was like right there-ish on the tail. And somehow, once again, hit me right here. And he just eats charged and normal tail attacks for days, while I'm just getting killed extremely slowly. And he's just somehow not low on health at all. Oh, probably because of the annoying armor. The cracked scutes, whatever. That makes it to where every 15 seconds, he's out of combat, by the way. 15 seconds is crazy. But he gets 10% more damage resistance every time that he gets a stack, and the stacks dwindle down one at a time and maxes out at 5. So the first hit is 50% resistance, then the second hit is 40, then the 30, then the 20, and then the 10. But before he reached low enough to where he didn't really get any of that, he would just walk away from me because I can't chase Picno. There's nothing I can do about that. So I was just getting cheesed the entire time, and it was so boring. Just walk around, walk around. He gets all of his armor stacks back, come back, somehow just eats like... he ate so many hits. He was just unfazed by the amount of times that I hit him. And then, eventually, I just died, because there's nothing I can do about that. And especially when there's the threat of 2 Spinos that are just constantly following. Not that Spinos are really a threat to me unless I'm just like standing there, but the main threat is that I have to keep on moving while regenerating stam, and then they actually outwalk me almost. So if I am out of stam, then there's nothing I can do because Picno has way better stamina than me. Spino can catch me if I'm out of stam. Picno has way better stam regen than me, so Picno can just keep on walking with me. Oh, I used all my stamina? No, I'm just gonna walk for like a minute and regen all of it again. So the only way that I died was because I was getting cheesed the entire time. / semi-teaming. Third partying and teaming at the same time because he had like 4 Denons with him. So yeah, so much fun, so much fun. Love Permadeath. It's like playing this game in general, except you're supposed to be better at solo, but it's just worse because there's more groups. And larger ones too, somehow. Alright. I'm just gonna post this VOD on YouTube. And like I said, that last fight was just really annoying, boring. That was like a 15-20 minute fight, maybe even close to 30 minutes. It might have gotten close to like 30-minute long fight of a Picno just walking around me and hitting me with his tail. While 2 giant Spinos just follow us around. While I was also slowly... That's probably why my health regen wasn't so good, was because I was slowly almost dying of thirst and hunger because I couldn't stand still long enough. And I'm surprised that Picno actually lasted that long on his hunger, because Picno's hunger is pretty bad now. So, he really was just that dedicated, I guess, to killing me, that he just wasted all of his food. I mean, he got all of his food back, but... Yeah, that was fun. So much fun. Loved it. I had actually fun fights, and then I had that fight, which was just so boring. And the hitbox was amazing. Beautiful. Just the charge tail hitbox, I mean. Oh, and the charge. The charge hit me on the tip of my tail, and it hit my body somehow, so... Because charges cannot hit tail. They can only hit your body, which he definitely did not hit my body. And I'm on Ethernet, which means that there's no way that it was lag. And if you don't believe that, then I guess you don't believe it. But my Ethernet can make me run up to 800 megabytes to 1 gigabyte of download speed, and I experience absolutely 0 lag on majority of games that have good servers. So the only way that happened was either the servers lag or just terrible hitboxing, or unlucky hitboxing, I guess. I'll go with that. But it was fun, I guess. Extremely long. I only got 2 or 3 main good fights, and then I had that. I'll probably rewatch it on YouTube just to see how boring it actually was, make sure the hitboxing that I'm saying is correct, which I'm pretty sure it's correct. Based on my visual of me basically looking top down almost, it hit my tail before it hit my body twice, and then the charge was basically at the tip of my tail and it hit my body. So, I think that happened twice actually, but the last time when he hit me, it actually hit me, yes, but The only reason why the last one actually killed me was because the other two technically hit me somehow. And it hit me on the tip of my tail and it did body shot damage, which I don't even know if charges can do, but like tail damage. Like less damage on the tail and more damage on the head, because the head and tail are not supposed to be a hitbox that the charge can hit. Charges are only built to hit the body, so if something has like a really long tail, like a Marg, you're not able, or not at least supposed to be able to hit the tail with the charge. And once again, if it does, then that means that it's like AoE to where it does body shot damage, because I've played this game for like a year, maybe a year and a half now, and every time that I use charge, I never hit them when I hit their tail at all, anywhere close, or the head, if I like go from a side. I mean, if you go from the front, like head on, then yeah, you're gonna hit their quote unquote head, but it's actually hitting their body because you go through their head. Like I said, charge is not supposed to hit your tail, but I got hit by it twice, and the charge tail whip should have hit my tail twice, but it hit my body. And yeah, that was really it. It was just really annoying. I'm kind of ranting, but like I had fun and then I didn't. I had a lot of fun doing that. That was pretty fun growing my Mira. I had the good duo Picno fight was actually more fun than that Picno fight, because at least once they got low, they just gave up and didn't just cheese me the entire time. Yeah, they were just using knockout and like a charge every here and there, but at least they didn't just sit there and cheese me the entire fucking time for 30 minutes or so. Instead, they had like a 10-minute long fight. They weren't cheesing me, they were just using knockout tail, but they weren't just exiting combat to get their armor back, because that was annoying. You know, other things among that. I know they had a lot of toxin and stuff, but once again, Picno, I don't know how he didn't have a lot of toxin either. I just realized that. He had like no toxin almost the entire time, it looked like. He's just unaffected by my reflective, I guess, and also he didn't get paralyzed ever. I know how paralysis works, and yes, it dwindles down, but that's how you prove that he was just cheating me so bad, was that he would keep on hitting me on the tip of my tail, hit my body somehow, which made it to where he didn't get the paralysis. But then when he actually got paralysis, he just sat there and regenerated his armor and health while getting rid of paralysis. So I was just getting cheesed the entire time, and it's just so annoying. I like to like fight people slow and stuff, but that was such a lame fight because it was nothing that I could do. I was too slow to catch him if he wanted to run away and stay out of combat to regenerate his armor. I don't know why the armor is 15 seconds and not like a minute, because that's the same problem that Struthi had. To where you could regenerate every 30 seconds. I don't know why they decided, oh, for this guy that does way more damage and has way more health, and does reflective as well with it, and a lot of reflective, well, decent. We're just gonna, for some reason, just because we're gonna make it to where it's 15 seconds. Because we knew 30 seconds was a problem, and increasing the 1 minute would make it to where it's actually possible to fight, like, where that they aren't just cheating you the whole time. So we're just gonna put it down to 15 seconds, because that makes sense, right? I don't know. Only reason why it really matters to me is because I lost everything. That's kind of the point of Permadeath, but like, it's just annoying that I got cheesed to die. I know it's gonna happen eventually, because that's just how playing this game works. Eventually you're either gonna get cheesed or technically cheesed by people just teaming. And yeah, you're supposed to be capable of teaming technically, but like, that was just boring. They weren't teaming, but it was enough of a fear factor to where that it affected me pretty badly, because I had to keep on moving, stay on the move. I couldn't hide anywhere. There was nowhere to hide also. And like I said, Picno was just cheesing me, he was only hitting my tail, yeah, but every time that I hit him, he would just stop fighting until his armor came back, so he would just constantly be having 50% damage resistance, and still after the amount of times that I hit him, there's no reason why he shouldn't have died or gotten low. I think that might mean that combat timer might need to be shortened, or increased, because, yeah, if they're gonna keep on doing the way that they're doing it, on how, like, you can just get the armor back faster and faster than the last time, then I think the best way the easiest way is just to increase combat timer to like a minute or 45 seconds because, like I said, there's nothing I could do there. There is no way that I could have killed him there based on what was happening. The only thing that I could do was run to a home cave. And I couldn't run to a home cave because he was faster than me. And if I even got there, then he'd just sit there and cheese me more by keeping me in combat. But yeah, it was just boring. There was nothing I could do. My health regen was terrible because of my hunger and thirst because they wouldn't leave me alone. Uh, the Pygno literally just kept on coming back and coming back and coming back and coming back. I know that one time when he came out of the woods, I probably shouldn't have just turned around and started fighting him, but I mean, he was going to find me and chase me anyway. And once again, Spinos are just constantly following, so I couldn't, like, get on a rock, or not get on a rock, but, like, be next to a rock. Yeah, I know that's a boring way to fight, but I mean, I don't think it's that boring when you can see what I was fighting. Because I can't chase him to put him in combat to stop him from gaining stacks. So, I was just destined to lose, pretty much, because the game is just, has a bad system with that. And he just meted the system and cheesed me completely. So I just lost 2 hours and 43 minutes of gameplay because I just got cheesed by something that I had no control over. It's just so annoying. It was fun in the beginning-ish, but it was just boring overall. He would just slowly get less and less and less aggressive, I know. It's technically biased because, yeah, I like to play passive and I like to play less aggressive, but I don't be that weird. There's two different levels of passive weird. There's passive to where, like, I'm fighting, but I'm not, like, just running and tail riding, face tanking. Like, just walk around, regenerate my charge, run in, charge, run away. You know, just regenerate my charge again. But then there's that weird passive to where it was, like, 30 minutes, and he only did 2 charges. Or 3, something like that. Pretty much 30 minutes straight. And now it was just so boring. If you weren't gonna fight me like you actually wanted to fight me and not just sit there and just pelt me with something that I can't deal with, that's like being a Hatson sitting above me and flailing me the entire time. There's nothing I can do about that. Basically same thing with Pygno, except the only thing that I could do about Pygno was trade hits, which I couldn't. Why? Because he would just run away. The charge tail is the only thing that would actually do some sort of damage, and it would still do less damage than my normal tail attack would, just because of the fact that he has 50% damage resistance the entire time, because he kept on regenerating it. Every 15 seconds, by the way, out of combat. So technically, every 45 seconds after he hit me or I hit him, he would regenerate an armor piece, and if he lost any more, then it would be every 15 seconds after that. And there's just nothing I could do about it. I couldn't go put myself up against a rock when Spino was chasing us. Anything involving being next to, on a rock, or in a cave, I couldn't do either because Spino would chase me, or I'm just too large to fit in a cave in general. And then I was just stuck pretty much in the open, walking, and walking, and walking, and running, and then walking, and then running, and then walking. The only thing that I had really was my charge tail to try and hinder him from attacking me, but that was technically just helping him because he would heal more. But yeah, I was just getting cheesed the whole time. Boring, boring fight, boring fight. No fun. And I'm probably going to do every other day that I play this game because that was just terrible. That was absolutely no fun. Like the Picnos earlier, I'm pretty sure that's the same one. He played the exact same way. He had the exact same kit. It's the same Picno from earlier. Except earlier, he was actually more cocky and less just, oh, I'm just going to sit here for 30 minutes straight and somehow not start starving. And just, you know, cheese you the entire time. Because earlier, he was just there to help the random Picno that he saw. And they were more cocky because it was 2 against 1. And it was actually, and maybe you can say I had fun because I won, technically. But, like, it was just boring. Nothing I could do about it. I had endless amounts of stamina, but it didn't mean anything to help me because Just got hit with just a few hits that were completely incorrect and should not have hit me. There was only one hit on my body that should have actually hit me, based on what I remember, which was the last charge, which barely missed me as well. But yeah, I just got cheesed the entire time. I couldn't do anything about it. I keep on going, I know. But to be fair, you probably should have just stopped earlier when I just kept on going. And I'm talking about that for like the YouTube video, not the stream, because I could keep on going, but I'm not going. I'm gonna stop the stream now. I'll start uploading it to YouTube. It'll probably be 3-4 hours maybe, depends on how long it really takes, because for some reason it takes a really long time before it reaches YouTube. And it'll just be posted. That's really it. But if you really wanted to rewatch it, then you can do that. Or it'll still be on my Twitch for 7 days, I think, in the video section, so yeah. Alright.